Hello and welcome to another After Effects tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the very famous plugin Optical flares, which I use for pretty much everything in all of my videos. Now this is pretty easy to use, and it adds a lot to scenes. So it makes if you do it correctly, if you don't do too much brightness, then it makes it look much better than it used to. And you can also use it for intros extremely well. Yeah, so this is one of my key components for every video, so this should be very helpful. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to create a new composition. Actually, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to import a clip I'm going to demonstrate this on. So this is from my most recent action video, Scrimmage of Strength, when one of the protagonists, Dennis, spread his arms and optical flares start appearing in them, like here and here, just to demonstrate like his powers. I also have a part where he does this, like when he, as if in a prayer to summon his power, and it gets darker, but I'm not going to show you how to do that today. I'm just going to show you the optical flare part of this. So let me just cut this a bit. Okay, trim come to work area, and now this should be fine. Okay, so let's start. So if you've purchased optical flares like I have, then you'll find it in your effects panel right here. So let's in order to add this, for example, you can't add it to well, actually, I'm going to show you what happens if you add it to a video directly. I'm not sure if this works. I've never actually tried it, so I don't know what actually happens, to be honest. I always do it very differently. Yeah, so that doesn't work because, well, as you can tell, it just completely colored up the footage, so we have to delete it. Okay, so in order to add an optical flare to your videos, you create a new solid by pressing Ctrl Y or going to Layer, New. Wait, let me select the composition first. Layer, New, Solid. Make a black solid, and makes everything a lot easier. At least it's the best one for what I do. Make comp size, obviously. And okay, and now obviously this is kind of bad because you can't really see your act anymore. So what you have to do is you have to set the transfer mode to add, and then you go on effect, video copilot. Make sure you have your solid selected, and then video copilot, optical flares. Now this is the flare, and as you can see, it's very nicely. Actually, let me just set the quality to 30. It's very nicely on your footage right now, and basically this is the flare. This is what you're going to be using, and as you can tell, when I move this crosshair about, you can move the flare. And obviously, if I had a more beefy computer, you could actually see what's going on, but it's pixelated because it's trying to render it. Now in the middle, you have another crosshair, which is the what's it called? I think it's called the lens iris or something, which is like a little tail that the flare leaves, which is like there. It's just like a little thing that's part of it basically. I mean, if you get it a little closer, you can tell. Like, so it's I don't know how to describe it, but you've probably seen it before. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're obviously gonna create one to be in his hands. And the way I did it in the video is I had one flare in his hands when they open, and then then I just added two flares and made it split apart, so he had two. But first, I'm gonna explain to you how to change the brightness and the position. So the brightness is very easy, it's here, but I'm going to show you very quickly. If you just very modestly swipe it to the right, it will immediately increase like 3 times. So what I always do is I hold Control and then change it, because this makes it I suppose change it less. This also applies to other effects if you want to change very minusculely without changing it completely, like to 300 like I just did by accident. So that's the brightness, very simple. You can obviously keyframe it like with any other effect. I don't think I have to show keyframing to you guys because you'll pretty know how to do it if you're watching this video. Now next thing is position. You'll be tempted to use center position for this, but as you can tell, center position animates the little streak here. And what you have to do to animate the flare, I've made this mistake numerous times when tracking a flare to someone's hand. If you use center position, then it's not going to work, so you have to use position X, Y. As you can see, that moves the flare. Yeah, keyframing it in the same way also works. Okay, so that's I'm gonna animate it later. I need to show you some other stuff first. Now, obviously, this flare. Let me just put it. This doesn't really work. Let me turn this layer off so we can see it. We don't really want this flare. I mean, to be honest with you, it's really basic, and a lot of people probably don't like it. So you're probably like going like, oh shit, why did I pay so much money for this? It's fucking terrible. I don't want this stupid flare. And there's obviously a solution for that, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten this. You go to options, and then it will open up a new window, and in this window you can customize your flare, or you can make a completely different one, or whatever. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. So here we have our flare, and here it says like the global color, which means the main color. So if I change this to red, which doesn't seem to work. Well, it's not very noticeable. Yeah, whatever. Just ignore that. Yeah. So this is the flare, and we can change it from add to something. I think I'm not sure. Oh, this is screen. Yeah. Okay, we're going to leave that add because I don't know what the rest does. Then, if we scroll down here, if we select this, and scroll down here, you can see, yeah, there you go, multi-arrows. This is all of the different components of this flare that make it up. And, for example, if we hide glow, then as you can see the glow diminishes a bit. If we hide the glint, the glow, it'll eventually start, once we delete all of them, which I always do, you'll have nothing left. And this is your flare now, which is nothing. So, in order to make your own flare, which I'm going to show you first, is you go in Lens Objects, which is already selected, and which should be already selected if you open the window. You'll have loads of these different little elements, and also if you go on Custom, you have several more. Now, how to create your own flare is you go, you add a glow. I don't usually add the glow when I make my own flare. I usually add the bright spot because I think it's just better. And then we go on Basic and add a streak, and I'm going to make the glow. I'm going to stretch it, so I'm going to stretch the second one. No, not the second one. I always make this mistake. Stretch the first one and make this one a bit more. There you have your very, very classic sphere, flare, which everyone knows. This is usually used to present like, for ads and stuff like that. Very, very simple, very crisp and stuff. Then you can change the global color, for example, to more blue, and that looks amazing in my opinion. And oh no, someone just messaged me. I'll check that later though. And yeah, and the streak, you can also change it, you can stretch it more, which we don't really want. You can stretch it like this as well. And that is how you create your that is how you create your own little flare. And if you don't want to do that, if you're not good at creating your own flare, if you do this and you're like, oh shit, it's the worst flare ever, then you go on preset browser, and when you get the normal thing, your custom presets is usually empty, but I created my own flare there. The folders that you usually have are light, motion graphics, and natural flares, although I'm not sure about natural flares. And I think network presets as well. Pro presets 1 and 2, you have to buy separately. Now let's go into light, and then you can see, this is you've just been rescued by some clever editors because they've made amazing flares such as this one. And yeah, this is how I pick mine because I'm not good at creating my own flare. So you have all these really cool ones, and obviously they say, look at this one, for example, you can say this, the glow's a bit too fat. You can just go into glow and you can just stretch it. And you can completely change the flare to what you want. And that's exactly how I do all my flares. So this one is, for example, from the Battle of ICCA, which I don't think a lot of people watching this will know, but that was one of my first action videos. Oh yeah, and then there's stuff like Monster Flare, which is insane, for example. A lot of people won't have pro presets, and unfortunately this is what I usually use because these ones just look amazing. I think for this one I use Big Bang. I'm not sure, though. I obviously put the brightness down. This is ridiculous. But yeah, so select your flare. For example, I've selected Big Bang, then just go on OK, and then it has changed your flare to this monstrosity, which we're obviously gonna have to put the brightness down, hold Control, and drag it a bit. And yeah, that's the flare I used. I'm pretty sure on this. Yeah, and you've already got your flare, and yeah, so let's assume we're going to use this one, and we're going to track it to his hand. So we're going to keyframe position X. Yeah, that's what we do, and then we put it to where we want it. I'm going to go with that, and then we press page down or go on next frame, and then we put it where we want again, and then just to check that we're actually keyframing, you select your footage and press U, and if we've done everything correctly. Oh shit. Oh no, what am I doing? If you have black solid, because that's what we added to effect to, press U, excuse me, and as you can tell we have added the keyframe, so we'll just keep going. So select this again, so you have the crosshair, press page down, next frame, add it again, press page down again, then yeah, and this is where it's gonna split. So this is the last frame where we're gonna see this single flare. So we're gonna take black solid and using Alt and right a square bracket, we are going to cut it there. So next frame it won't be there anymore. So now we're gonna create two more flares. So let's go into the next frame, and let's create 2 more solids, and let's have the both one add. You're gonna have to have a lot of solids. For example, for some of my projects I have like 40, no not 40, but like 20 solids. If it's a very, for example, on the scene of the Return of the Gods, if you've seen that movie where there's a scene where a lot of people fight with optical flares shooting at each other all the time, it goes on for like a minute, and I had to do a lot of tracking there. I have like 20 different layers there just for the flares, so it becomes a little mess down here. But yeah, so let's go here and select them both, and then go into Effect Window, Control Shift Alt E, which will give you the effect you just used. Now obviously this is a bit too bright there, but that's simply because they're both overlaying each other right now. Oh god, I'm gonna set this to quartz. This is taking up too much. And we'll put it on his hand, and we'll put the other one on his hand as well. Oop, there we go. I usually turn them off and just look at the crosshairs, because otherwise it will just take an age to load. Okay, so I'm going to keyframe position X again, and first of all I'm going to cut this by doing Alt right square bracket on both. And now I'm going to take black solid 3, which I've already keyframed, and I'm going to select it, and I'm going to go to the next frame, put it on the hand again. As you can see, this doesn't lag, so it's a lot better. Put it there again. I had it hovering on it above his hand a little bit, because it didn't look good the other way. Oh no, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, let's just keep going, and keep going again. And yeah, I think for the purpose of this video I'm just going to keep it at here. I'm going to take all of these layers, all right bracket, and I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to come to work area. Okay, so now we've now as we can tell, if we select our flare on black solid 3, and we can see the crosshair, we can tell it's being animated with his hands. So now we're going to do exactly the same thing for this one. I'm going to view it, and then we're going to keyframe the position XY. We're going to go to the next frame again, next frame again. I hope it's not too boring for all of you, but unfortunately you have to sit through some keyframing. I'm sure it's the same with other tutorials, and it's not just me being super boring. When you have like a 10-minute video, or if you have to have someone holding a flare and waving it around for like 20 seconds, you really start being a bit paranoid. Now if we go back, we can tell it's also tracked to his hand. And before we activate them again, we're going to change them. So I'm going to go on Options for Black Solid 3. I'm going to go into Pro Presets, and I'm going to select a flare. What am I in the mood for today? It's always really. I think Greatest is fine. And for the other one, I'm going to do the same. So Options, Pro Presets, and excuse me. Where is it? Greatest. And now I'm going to select them both, and let's see what this looks like. And I think that looks really, really fucking good. So what we're going to do is we're going to render it out and see what it looks like. Yes, that sounds extremely awesome. Now, that sounds really fucking stupid. I'm going to mute the layer because otherwise it sounds really dumb. So let's play it. I don't know about you, but I think this looks pretty good. And that pretty much wraps up how to animate them. One last thing I'm going to show you before this video is finished is I'm going to show you how to add a flicker, which means because if you have a longer footage, because in here you don't notice it because the flares are in motion the whole time, but if you have a longer footage where you have to have a flare on, for example on an intro to create atmosphere or something, then you will want it to be more animated, so you can add a flicker, and this is extremely easy, which I actually think Video Coupler did a really good job on it. So you just open up flicker, and you just enter the speed. I usually have like 40 here, and then amount usually like 20, and I'm gonna do the same on this one. 40, 20, and just for the fun of it, I'm gonna do it here on this one as well. 40, 20. Now speed means how many times it's going to change, and amount is the amount of brightness it changes by. So if you have a lot of amount, it'll fade. It'll be almost invisible at times and almost blindingly bright at others. So a good balance is usually best. I think amount should always be lower than the speed. And as you can see, you can't see it very well, but if we go very slowly, you can see that the brightness is being animated, and yeah, that's very useful when you're when you want it to just look like it has more motion. And just before I finish this tutorial, I'm going to add another new composition, and I'm going to have it the same dimension. No, it's not good, is it? I'm going to have it 1920 by 1080, so 1080 HD. And okay. And here we are going to, I'm just going to show you very quickly, I'm going to go into Action Essentials 2. Action Essentials, I'm just going to select one at random, doesn't really matter. Atmosphere, smoke is better, smoke. Then a wisp is usually better. Fuck you. Wisp, I'm going to add 2 wisps in. This is just, I'm just going to show you how to add it as an, add flares to give more coolness, just niceness to your intros. Now, a very little insider tip: if you have 720p footage and you want to put it on 1080p footage, like if you're editing a 1080p video and you're going to add 720p Action Essentials files, then the exact scale you have to use is 150, and then it fills out basically completely. Well, this one, what did I do? Whatever. Let me add this one as well. I think I didn't do 1080p correctly. Okay, whatever. Let's just do this, and let me put this down a little bit. And let me put this one down as well. I have to hurry up, otherwise my computer's gonna run out of battery. Okay, and now very quickly load this. Not just basically wisps. Oh god, come on. Okay, whatever. And then let's say you have a little title here saying Aaron is fat. Joke. Aaron is fat. Here. I'm not even gonna bother animating this. And let's say you want a little bit more atmosphere here, as in like a little bit more just a nicer look to it. I'm going to very quickly make a new layer. Put it on add. I really have to hurry up right now. Effect, optical flares, and just add a flare in the corner so it's kind of on a half thing. And the optical flare will add a nice look to the smoke. I'm just going to very quickly change it into this flare. Oh shit. And as you can tell, if I get rid of it, that looks so much better. And then you can add flicker to it and make it look better. I really have to end the tutorial here, I'm very sorry, but I'll make some more in the future. This is basic. This was just showing you how to do optical flares. Like this video if you liked it. Check out my other tutorials playlist and my newest force field tutorial, and just my channel in general. I make action videos, obviously, if you haven't noticed yet. And yeah, subscribe if you like the work, if you like my work and all this stuff, and I'll see you soon. Bye.